heart could ever do. I bless the winds turning Arizona. Could take some time to do the things we never had. Ah, jeez. Hey, Costco, I dropped my keys in the snow. Can you help me find them? Oh, wait, no. They're just in my pocket. Okay, I'll let you keep doing your thing.
As local news gets. News 12, Brooklyn.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. It is Thursday. We've got news and weather heading your way in just a moment. First, traffic.
And my doctor was telling me that I've got to be careful. I've got this problem with explosive diarrhea. It just happens randomly and I can't really control it. Thanks, JT. We're here, as you can see, in Brooklyn. There is no traffic right now. If you look at our maps, oh gosh, it's happening. Oh.
Hey, it's me, Mini Zach. I'm here to tell you about this week's game night. Once again, Friday night at 7 p.m., everyone's invited to another game night. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be playing another new game. Wow. It should be great, I think. So just be there, okay? All right, bye.
It makes us new. Our love came out of the wood. Our strength, there's no time left to waste. Yeah, you can make your great escape. We're made to run wild, run wild, run wild. Hi, and welcome to What Happens Next, the game show where you have to guess what happens next. Let's take a look at that first clip. I have often dreamed of a far off place where great warm welcome will be. Who do you think is watching Zach? Do you think it's his mom? Do you think it's his dad? Or do you think it's nobody? Time to guess. Guess in the comments below. Go on, give it your best shot. You could be right. Go on, guess. All right, let's see the answer right now. Warm welcome will be waiting for me, and the crowds will cheer when they see my face. The answer was Zach's dad. Now it's time to take a look at the next clip. Olive, you know what? Someone's been taking my Mentos. It's driving me crazy. I mean, it can't be Jess's family because they're not here. It can't be Jess because she doesn't like Mentos. It's not you, right? It all makes sense now. You've been faking it. You don't need me to change your diapers. You've been pretending to be helpless so you could take my Mentos. I know the truth. Where do you think the Mentos are hidden? Do you think they are in Olive's diaper, under Olive's blankie, or they were in Zach's pocket all along? Time to guess. Be sure to guess in those comments. Go on, why don't you guess? It doesn't hurt. Uh-oh, time is running out. Time to guess. All right, let's see what the answer is. I knew it.
Why are you yelling at the baby?
It's not what it looks like. She's been taking my Mentos.
Just put the baby to bed. I can't believe you.
It was under Olive's blankie. All right, time for our last clip of the day. Jessica, I feel that I'm haunted by the ghosts of my past. All right, it's time to guess what ghost from Zach's past is haunting him. Is it a test he failed in 5th grade? Is it a sloppy Joe he never ate? Or is it his dog? It's time to guess. Come on, you should guess. Just guess in those comments down below. Oh Man, for anyone who's watching this video after it's already been posted, this is going to be very awkward. We're running out of time. All right, let's see what the answer is.
I think that's just Costco.
What? Oh, yeah, it's just Costco. Well, that's all we've got for today's game. Thanks so much for watching and playing, and hope to see you again real soon. Can you still see me? Hey guys, Zach here. Thanks so much for joining us again for another lesson. The last few weeks, Jordan and I have been doing a series on waiting. And now Jordan and I have the opportunity to teach on whatever we really want to teach on. So today, I've got a very special lesson about branding. It's not just business, it's personal. I'm going to be talking to you about shaping your own personal brand, what that means, and what our brands should even look like. But first, what is a brand? Well, the dictionary definition of a brand is a person's perception of a product, service, experience, or organization. A person's perception, essentially the way someone sees something, thinks about something, that is what a brand is. And then the next question we have to ask is, what is branding? Well, branding is the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product, service, experience, or organization from other products, services, experiences, organizations. Essentially, when you take part in branding, it is separating yourself from other brands or organizations, making yourself different so that when people see you or see your brand, they know that that is you, that is your brand. Now, the first big way that companies or organizations differentiate themselves through is through their logo. Just by looking at the screen right now, you can see that these are 3 different logos, and you know exactly what each one of them are for because they have good branding and they have done a great job of differentiating themselves through their logos. And the second big part to your brand is your identity. It's the tangible elements, the things that you control, which are essentially the things you do, the actions you take, the things that you say that all speak into what your brand is, that all reflect your mission. For instance, let's talk about Chipotle. Now, if you're like me, you love Chipotle, but you might not have known their mission statement. You see, Chipotle's mission is to create food with integrity. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's a weird mission statement. Why don't they just say Chipotle's goal is to make really fresh food, or Chipotle looks to serve people to the best of our ability, or something like that? But listen for a moment, because I think they have a very, very clever mission statement. Because when I think of Chipotle, if I have to compare Chipotle to Taco Bell, I think I would say that Chipotle is much higher quality food than Taco Bell. I know Taco Bell to be very cheap, it's fast, and it's pretty good. But Chipotle is like, when I go to Chipotle, it's treating myself, right? And that's the thing, is that they have higher quality ingredients. Their food is very, very fresh. They do a really good job when you're there. And when you put all those things together, you can really see that, yes, Taco Bell has cheap food, but Chipotle makes food with integrity. Now that you have a logo and you also have your tangible elements, your identity that you've done everything you can to put together as nicely as possible, you have a brand. Sort of. You see, you can do everything you want to try to create your brand, make it a certain thing, but ultimately, it's up to the public eye, the people that are around you, the people that use your products, to decide really what your brand is, because your brand is their perception. As an example, let's just look at McDonald's. You know, McDonald's has done a lot in the last few years in terms of branding, from redoing all of their storefronts, to adding healthier items to their menu, to even putting a lot of new rules in place in their stores that their employees are doing a better job serving the people that come to their stores. But still, when I look at McDonald's, when I see those golden arches, I still think 3 things. They're fast, they're cheap, and they're very unhealthy. It's really hard to change the way people see your brand when they already have something in mind. And so that's why branding can actually be pretty difficult. But today I want to talk to you about a brand that has not changed in thousands and thousands of years. God's brand. If we needed to summarize God's brand in one word, I think all of us as Christians would agree that God's brand is love. Right? God is love. It's what the Bible tells us. But that's not the only reason why we believe that God's brand is love. It's not just because there's some words on a page that say it. It's because of the sacrifice he made for us, right? One of the tangible elements that God controlled was that he sacrificed his own son for our sins. Jesus died for our sins on the cross. the ultimate act of love. And he really secures that brand of love through that act. And the next question is, what is God's logo, right? Now, some could argue that it's the Jesus fish, but really though, it's the cross. It's the perfect logo because when you see it, immediately you think of God, right? You think of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. The logo really ties the whole brand together. When you see it, you think about that ultimate act of love. So today, let's use New Hope as one of our first examples. Many of you guys know the logo. It's got the cross in it, which brings it back to God's brand, right? And now let's look at New Hope's identity. Well, New Hope's mission statement, which speaks to the identity, is that New Hope Presbyterian Church exists to glorify God, make disciples by living out the gospel together. That's nice and all, but is New Hope really living up to that identity that it's giving itself? I would say yes. And that really is through all of the opportunities to connect that New Hope provides. We have Sunday school classes, we've got men's and women's Bible studies, we've got awesome groups like Common Ground on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, and so many other opportunities for people to connect with one another through Christ. But besides just opportunities to connect, New Hope does so much more. The people of New Hope go out and try to reach out and do amazing things for one another. The people here are just so compassionate and caring. I mean, we gave over 2,500 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to one of our partners in the last few weeks. It's really incredible how people are coming together, loving on one another, and doing some amazing things, all for the glory of God. And so I would argue that New Hope's brand is love. New Hope has the same brand of God, and ultimately we should be doing that. Our brand as a church should obviously reflect the God that we are worshiping. Now let me ask you this. What makes a Subaru a Subaru? It's love. Love, that's what makes a Subaru. Here's the thing, their brand is also love. They're not a Christian brand, but they've earned that because they create safe cars that are reliable. You don't want to put your loved ones in a Toyota. No, you want your loved ones in a Subaru. Sorry to all those people with Toyotas out there. I love Toyotas. They're great, okay? All right. My wife has a Toyota, so don't be offended. So now let's bring it all back to your personal brand. First, what do you think your logo is? Well, your logo is you. You are you. And so you can't really change your logo, except through plastic surgery, which I don't necessarily recommend. And now let's talk about your identity. Let's say that your identity is that you're willing to do anything. You're always the first person to jump. You're always that person that eats the foods that are absolutely disgusting when you want to try them out and no one else will. You're the person to raise your hand when there's a crazy game that could probably injure somebody, but you're willing to do it. Some people might say that you're adventurous, but others might just think you're crazy. She's insane, right? Or maybe your identity is that you're studious. You're always in the books. You're always studying. You really value your education. You want to pursue careers that involve a lot of work to get to. Your brand, people might say, is that you're smart or that you're wise. They might be wanting to go to you for knowledge because they know that you're a very knowledgeable person. Or maybe your identity is maybe you just want to love God, and you want to pursue God, and you want to do amazing things for Him. I would say your identity then is that you're living out the gospel. You're loving other people, you're caring, you're compassionate, you're doing amazing things for the glory of God. You're in your Bible, you're going to church, you're part of Common Ground, baby. And ultimately, I think people are going to see your brand as love. Because here's the thing. Christian, the word Christian literally means Christ-like or little Christ. And ultimately, if you are making your life about God, if your identity is about pursuing God, then people are going to see your brand as love. But now here's a question. Why should I care? Why should I put time into focusing on this identity and the branding? Is it really that important? Well, as my professor in college used to say, if you're not branding, someone else is branding for you. And so I think it's important that we focus on branding because ultimately we don't want to be giving off the wrong image. Let's look at this. Let's say that your identity is your image. You focus so much on how others see you, and how others perceive you. You're very, very good with social media. You try to put this person out there that maybe isn't really honest to who you really are. Well, then maybe you think that your brand is that you're popular. Your brand is that I'm just a popular person. Everyone loves me, right? I have a lot of followers, but ultimately, your brand is self-centered. People are going to see you as self-centered. If you're only focused on your image, if you're focused only on you, people are going to see right through that. Or maybe your brand is wealth, and not just necessarily money, but if you're focusing on money, that speaks to your brand. But if you're only focusing on, my own personal happiness, if you're only focusing on, this is what I'm worth and all of this, it ultimately speaks to this brand of shallowness. That you're a shallow person if you only think about yourself, if you're only thinking about your wealth. So ultimately, if we want the best brand possible, our brand should reflect Jesus, because Jesus's brand is trustworthy, zealous, compassionate, loyal, faithful, wise, devoted, gracious, comforting, truthful, and so much more. It might be easier said than done, though, to say, yes, my brand is going to reflect Jesus, but ultimately, how do we do that? How do we hone our brand as Christians? Well, I think it's important that we have the fruit of the Spirit in our lives. It's important that we're showing the fruit of the Spirit. And the fruit of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, faithfulness, and gentleness. Not necessarily in that order. But if we are showing those fruit of the Spirit in our own lives, people can see that fruit in our lives, then they're going to see God's brand through us. They're going to see that we are Christ-like. We can also hone our brand by using our spiritual gifts. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the spiritual gifts because Jordan's actually going to be teaching on that very soon. But I just do want to touch on it a little bit, though. Some of the spiritual gifts are teaching, healing, wisdom, knowledge, faith. One of Jordan's spiritual gifts is definitely comforting. She's really good at just bringing comfort to people, just giving this peace to people. When you know your spiritual gift, you're able to hone that spiritual gift and really dive into it and use that to glorify God in some amazing ways. Because I love teaching and because God's giving me this spiritual gift, I'm able to teach you guys, and it's a really amazing thing that I get to do, and I get to show the love of God through that. So my hope for you is this. When people see your logo and they think about your identity, they're going to say, hey, there's Ty. He is just such a faithful guy. Or hey, there's Hope. She just has so much joy. Or there's Ainsley. Ainsley is just such a caring person. Or there's Mark Dillahay. He is just... Let's just forget about Mark right now. But ultimately, when people see your identity, when they see who you are and how much you're glorifying God, your brand is going to shine through this brand of love.
Hey, what are you still doing here? Go to your Zoom call, okay? Get out of here. I don't know where the exit is. You can go now.